Good morning. How are you? Well, I'm out here and I'm in my cathedral of trees, reaching for the sky as we reach for our destiny. 20 days to lifting that flag, driving it into the ground, and saying America is back again. We're finally going to respect law. We're going to respect the Constitution, but we got our work cut out for us. Yesterday I said there was like a receding sound of Trump, and it's almost like he heard me. Well, we all know it can't last so much, but it's becoming more muffled. It is receding, and that's good. But let's do a lightning round on Trump. Let's see. First of all, let's start with his choice of the best and the brightest, National Security Advisor Flynn. Yesterday he said we should have the president declare martial law, and then we should seize all the machines in the battleground states only, and get this election going and have another one. Well, it's so good we got rid of him early on in the administration. This was a national security advisor. Well, it's not going anywhere. What he said was unconstitutional, unlawful, and there's no authority to do it. And if not anybody else, a courtroom would stop it in an instant. But there's more. Trump had a gathering by phone and in person of advisors, and he was thinking of having Sidney Powell, that maniac who ran around challenging in various courts and losing. He was thinking maybe we should appoint her as special counsel. Rudy Giuliani, probably because he wanted to be the only crazy only crazy person in the room, he thought that was a bad idea. Imagine that. How could that have happened? So that's probably not going to happen. And then we have another example of the Manchurian candidate, in which Trump contradicts, get this, his loyalist and bosom buddy, Secretary of State Pompeo, who says, yeah, the Russians are hacking us. And Trump says, no, they're not. You got to wonder what else these guys are concealing from us. Transition's having trouble getting information from the Secretary of State. And it's probably because they got their machines running, hacking up all the information so they can conceal their crimes from the new administration. And while we're at it, where are we going to go with our country? And maybe that's an issue we won't be able to really figure out or start until January 20th, although I'm sure people are thinking about it. Our government ain't working. And so how do we get it to work again? Even right now in the crisis of what we do with helping the people, there's a possibility there'll be a veto, and then we'll have to override the veto, and $900 million is not enough. Local governments are billions of dollars down to provide services and so forth, including, as AOC noticed, you want to defund the police? Okay, then don't pass any money on the Hill to help local governments. So what are we going to do? Woodrow Wilson faced this situation as a young man. He was 28, didn't like the practice of law, and he was writing a thesis for Johns Hopkins, as I remember, about 1890. And realized that in those times the president had been weak, so he thought we needed a stronger Congress. And I say weak because after Lincoln's assassination, what do we have? We had a weak president because the Reconstruction didn't go well. Johnson was impeached really on a political basis. He wasn't convicted, as you know. He finished his term. But there wasn't a strong president probably until Teddy Roosevelt, after Woodrow Wilson wrote a book saying what we really need is a parliamentary government. The committee system isn't working. We need somebody to fill the void. And Wilson even then knew what he wanted to be, somewhere in government. He wasn't thinking so much of himself as the president because the Congress was strong. Well, in the intervening years, he wrote another book which now recognized the president was strong. And going from then to when Wilson himself was president and when FDR was president, we see a series of strengthenings in the president. And with this current Congress, we saw how a president, Trump, could usurp the power of Congress, do whatever he wanted almost. Now, he used leverage, he used fear, he used his party apparatus, he using social media in such a way, he found a new way to go forward. Well, this new Congress has got to find a way to work, and asking people inside an organism that help get them elected to change is not going to be easy. But this pandemic is not going to go away in more ways than one. We all see that there's going to be a division in the nation among those who have access to the technology to work from home because, say, they're in a service industry like I am, in a way, an advocate, a lawyer, giving advice, basically. I can do it from anywhere. But if I'm an online physician, what do? And these telemedicine things will go so away. There are 100 examples, but what they mean in the accumulated aggregate is that our nation going forward is going to have to do things differently. And we're going to have to respect the law and trust. We're going to have to get over our aversion to science. We're going to have to drop these conspiracy theories. We're going to have to find a way to assure more information and less disinformation in our public square. All of these are big challenges, and there are socioeconomic ones that are going to require training. And, if our souls leap to the challenge, it could be a renaissance. And that's really what we need, because we can't ignore what Mother Nature does, and we can't ignore that we have not had much progress in the last 4 years. So it's up to us to go forward. I think Biden's team has got the intellectual muscle and the will to do it. And there's going to be opposition, and it's going to be strong. But 20 days from now, we're going to launch a new period in American history. And it was Turner who wrote a thing called the Frontier Thesis that he thought explained our individualism and our ability to overcome frontiers to build a new land. Well, our frontiers are not geographic anymore. They're in the mind, they're in the soul, and they're to make all people really equal, as is the original promise of our Declaration of Independence. And we've imperfectly led to that our entire existence. And now's the time to really prove it. And we're doing that by the selection of the cabinet, but we've got a lot more to do. So we have great promise on this day as the receding of the old passes before us and the possibilities of the new shine just steps away, 20 days. So get out. It's a nice day. Be well. Be very careful about the pandemic. It's getting worse. See London. And I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.